So yes, Yuteja, we are live. I'll just send out a notification and maybe you can also open the link and start.
Yeah.
You can start, Yuteja.
Hello, my dear friends. Very good evening and a warm welcome to you all for a discussion on CA Inter GST for RTP May 2022. Now, my dear friends, as we all are aware about the discussion of this RTP revision test paper, which carries some good amount of importance, especially from an examination standpoint. And I'm sure every faculty will tell that RTP is very important. The fundamental reason is why? Because RTP gives you a flair exactly in terms of what kind of questions can come in the exam, and also it gives a clarity of thought in terms of what are the interesting amendments which have come into the picture. I'm sure we all know that amendments made up to 31st October 21 are applicable for May 22 exam. The simple reason because amendments up to 6 months prior to the exam are applicable to our exam. And we already launched amendments video on our YouTube channel, and we wanted to spend some good time on discussion about this RTP so that we get a complete clarity of thought on how do we tackle this questions in the exam if similar kind of pattern comes in the exam. And as we are aware, my dear friends, CA Inter indirect tax laws constitute a weightage of about 40 marks in our exam, and in this 40 marks, good amount of marks will come from exemptions, value of supply, time of supply, input tax credit, and of course some interesting questions will keep coming from amendments also. So all said and done, there's a good amount of importance given to RTP, so please don't miss out. So I want you guys to concentrate and spend perfect time with me so that we'll discuss all the questions in the best possible manner and get a complete clarity of thought. And during the discussion, if you have got any queries, you can feel free to ask me, and any other questions if you have, you can feel free to connect. And I'll be glad and more than happy to answer all your queries. Thank you. Let's start. Now, first of all, so all provisions have to be answered on the basis of GST law as amended by Finance Act 2021, which has become effective till 31st October 2021. And the significant notification circulars issued up to 31st October 2021. That's what I've been trying to tell you, that amendments done up to 6 months prior to the exam, they all are applicable to your exam. And that is the reason why every attempt we keep recording amendments separately, and we'll also cover all the amendments in your subject course also. And we already launched amendments video on the YouTube platform separately so that all students can make use of it. And your videos, if you have been a part of Indigo student, that videos are already part of the course. And amendments are anyway separately covered for the benefit of students at large. Now see, first, the rates of GST mentioned in various questions are hypothetical and may not necessarily be the actual rates leviable on goods and services. They always write this language because the whole idea of this language is that please don't question the question, please only answer the question. There is no requirement to question the question in terms of, sir, this would have been the answer for rate of GST, but not this. Don't try to do that for a simple reason, because ICA expectation is only for you to answer the question, but not question the question. Please get that very clearly. Come on. Next point. Let's start the first interesting question. And I'm sure the guys know that first interesting question will always be a case study where different interesting topics, small topics, which you always keep thinking, this small topic, who will ask in the exam? These small topics, they'll combine together, create a case study and give questions on that in the exam, where they'll give a situation and circumstance, give different points, and on the different points, they'll ask questions in the exam, which will be a purely multiple choice questions based. Let's see that first. Vidula Impex Limited, Impex means imports and exports, is engaged in supplying sports goods. Company did not opt for registration under GST. Proper officer under GST, based on inquiry, finds that the concern is liable for registration. That means even though they are liable for registration, still they did not take registration. And he registers the firm on temporary basis on 15th June. Let me tell you one interesting point. Generally, whenever registration is granted on temporary basis, the person must apply for final registration within 90 days. That's very important, given in section 25, procedure for registration. Then, after being granted the registration certificate, company has availed the following services for the purpose of its business. Let's see what service they have taken. First one, renting of motor vehicle from Blue Taxi Private Limited. That word is interesting, Private Limited, where GST is charged at 12%. Let me tell you, my dear friends, in case of renting of motor vehicle, RCM provisions will come into picture. I repeat, in case of renting of motor vehicle, RCM provisions will come into picture if supplier is any person other than body corporate. Receiver is a body corporate and the tax rate is only 5%. Only then, my dear friends, the provisions of RCM will come into picture. I repeat, provisions of RCM will come into picture only when supplier is any person other than body corporate, receiver is a body corporate, and the rate of tax is 5%. Then only RCM will apply in case of renting of motor vehicle. If not, there is no question of RCM. Second point, appointed Mr. Rajesh as technical director for advisory role in the business, and the payment was made based on the contract entered. However, he was not employee of the company. If he is employee of the company, there is no question of GST, because services by employee to employer in the course of employment is neither regarded as supply of goods nor regarded as supply of services. Clear, my dear friends? So here they clearly told he is not an employee. If he is not an employee, when director is giving service to the company, this transaction is covered under RCM. That means company is liable to pay GST. Interesting question, my dear friends. Good. Some question has come before I proceed. My student is asking, sir, temporary means CTP or NRTP? No, my dear friend. Always don't think that temporary means CTP, NRTP. We apply for CTP, NRTP registration. CTP in case where we want to go to other state, and in that state we do not have a fixed place of business and want to carry on business for temporary period. Then only CTP story will come. NRTP is for somebody who does not have place of business in India or residence in India. That is the story of CTP, NRTP. Don't think like that. Here we are talking about a case where somebody who is liable to be registered, he did not take registration. Then proper officer will catch hold of him and grant him temporary registration. After that, he must apply for permanent registration within 90 days. This point is clearly given in the law. I hope your question is answered, my dear friend. Good, very good. Next. During the course of its business, company issued an invoice to customer and erroneously charged higher value by 34,000. That means what? They charged more. Such invoice was issued on 28th February. So when they charged more, my dear friends, subsequently they want to reduce the value. And in order to reduce the value, I repeat, my dear friends, in order to reduce the value or reduce the tax, supplier gives a document known as credit note. In order to reduce, my dear friends, he'll give a document called credit note. I'm sure you would have heard this, that in case where supplier wants to increase the value or increase the tax, he'll give debit note. But if supplier wants to reduce the value or reduce the tax, he'll give a credit note. Next point. Further, in the month of February 2021, company also generated an e-way bill for interstate transport of goods. Very good. However, immediately on generation of e-way bill, the buyer cancelled the order before it is dispatched from the factory for delivery. So before it is dispatched, buyer has cancelled the order. In that case, please cancel the e-way bill also. And law clearly told that e-way bill can be cancelled within a period of 24 hours. Within 24 hours time, e-way bill can be cancelled. Next. In the month of March 2021, since the company was incurring heavy losses, it applied for cancellation of GST registration. Very good. On 15th March 2021, order for cancellation was made on 30th March 21. 30th March 21, order for cancellation was made, affecting cancelling the registration with effect from 15th March 21. So 30th March, order was passed stating that cancellation is with effect from 15th March. So date of order of cancellation is different. Effective date of cancellation is different. Date of order of cancellation is what, my dear friends? 30th March. But effective date of cancellation is 15th March. In general, effective date of cancellation is different. Date of order of cancellation is different. That's the point given here. Next, from the information given above, choose the most appropriate answer for the following questions. Let's see, guys. So these MCQs are very scoring, provided you have clarity of thought. Small topics, different topics, they'll combine together and create one case study and give, which is actually very scoring. But you should have a clarity of thought. That is important. Then, after grant of temporary registration, Vidula Impex Limited needs to apply for registration within, I already told, 90 days from the date of grant of temporary registration. If no extension of period is to be granted for such temporary registration, let's see, option A, 30 days, option B, 90 days, option C, 7 days, option D, 15 days. So answer is option B, 90 days. Already I discussed this point with you, that in case of grant of temporary registration, the taxpayer must apply for permanent registration within 90 days. Next point. Second, in which of the following services company is liable to pay tax under RCM, renting of motor vehicle? No RCM in this case, because RCM will come only when supplier is other than body corporate, receiver is body corporate, supplier has opted for 5% tax rate. Then directorship service, definitely answer is yes. So answer is option B, my dear friends. Clear? Very interesting, guys. Next, third bit. Which document is required to be issued by the company in respect of the invoice issued on 28th February? Already I told you they have to give a document known as credit note, because credit note is a document given by supplier to recipient in order to reduce the value or tax. So there are two types of notes known as credit note and debit note. Debit note is a document given in order to increase the tax, whereas credit note is a document given in order to reduce the tax. Interesting point. Fourth bit, company needs to file final return. Let me tell you guys, this concept of final return is given by section 45, which clearly says that final return is to be filed within 3 months from date of cancellation, within 3 months from date of cancellation, or within 3 months from date of order of cancellation. Come on guys, what is the line, sir? Within 3 months from date of cancellation or within 3 months from date of order of cancellation. Whichever is later, my dear friends. These are important points to be kept in mind. And the question we have discussed very clearly that when is the cancellation done? 15th March is the effective date, but 30th March is the order of cancellation. So within 3 months from date of cancellation or 3 months from date of order of cancellation, whichever is later. So later is what? 30th March. From 30th March, 3 months will become 30th June. So answer is option D, my dear friends. 30th June 2021. No doubt about it. Very, very interesting case, guys. Next, last bit. Which of the following statement is correct in respect of e-way bill generated for goods in the month of February for which order was cancelled? First bit, once generated e-way bill cannot be cancelled. Wrong. E-way bill can be cancelled within 24 hours. Fantastic. 100% correct answer. 48 is wrong, 72 is wrong. So answer is, my dear friends, option B, because e-way bill can be cancelled within 24 hours of generation of e-way bill. E-way bill can definitely be cancelled. No doubt about it. Clear, friends? Fantastic. That is the story of this question number 5, and that is the story of this fantastic case study which covered the concept of e-way bill, which covered the concept of registration, RCM, final return, whatnot. Different topics are combined together so that a fantastic overall case study can be given where student knowledge and the talent and the effort and the hard work is tested from an overall perspective. That is why this kind of case studies are very interesting always. No doubt about it. Clear? Very good. Let's move forward to the next interesting question. And as we know that our GST weightage is 40 marks, it's very, very scoring, guys. My always suggestion to the students is that in this 40, you should aim for at least 30. Minimum 30. Your major job is over. And getting exemption in taxation paper will become pretty simple, smooth and easy. And out of my past experience, let me tell you, there have been number of students, hundreds of students from our classes who have secured amazing numbers and amazing scores. No doubt about it. Because subject is clear, concept is clear, definitely you can answer any type of, any sort of question. Let's see now. Mr. Shambhu. Come on, guys. What is the name, sir? Mr. Shambhu, a trader registered under GST in Delhi, is engaged in wholesale business of toys for kids. Mr. Nandi, registered under GST in Patiala, a regular return filer, supplies toys in bulk to Shambhu for selling to end consumers. So Nandi supplied to whom, sir? Shambhu. That's an interesting point you have to observe there. Shambhu is paying tax in regular scheme in Delhi. Very good. But he has not filed 3B for the last 2 months. Wow. Guys, I'm sure you know that as per rule 138E, if returns are not filed for last 2 months, then facility for generation of e-way bill, facility for generation of e-way bill is blocked. But here one very interesting amendment has come up, which is extremely important. And that amendment is actually given by notification number 15 by 2021. I repeat, it is given by notification number 15 by 2021, dated 18th May 2021. Come on, my dear friend. What is notification number? Notification number 15 by 2021, dated 18th May 2021. An interesting amendment has come up, my dear friends. That's very interesting, which has come up very recently, which is covered in the statutory update and also covered in the amendments video, where they have specified that this facility for generation of e-waybill is blocked only as supplier, but not as recipient. So if Nandi wants to generate e-waybill in the name of Shambhu, Nandi can do that. But if Shambhu wants to generate e-waybill for outward supplies, Shambhu cannot do that. This is an interesting amendment which has come up, my dear friends, where they have clarified that e-waybills can be generated in respect of inward supply, but it can't be generated only with respect to outward supply. This is a very interesting amendment which has come up. See the question now. So Nandi wants to generate e-waybill. Nandi wants to generate e-waybill for toys amounting to 5 lakhs to be supplied to Mr. Shambhu. Can he do that? Definitely answer is yes, my dear friends, because this is Nandi to Shambhu. That's very much possible. Shambhu cannot generate e-waybill for outward supply, but for inward supply, definitely it is allowed. Also from Mr. Narayan from Jammu, approached Mr. Shambhu for purchasing toys amounting to 75,000 for the purpose of return gift on his son's birthday party. Shambhu wants to generate e-waybill in respect of outward supply of goods to Mr. Narayan. Can he do that, my dear friends? Definitely answer is no. This is not possible. This is not doable at all. See now, exam with reference to provisions under GST law, whether Nandi and Shambhu can generate e-waybill. Nandi can do that, but Shambhu cannot do that, because e-waybill generation is blocked in case of movement of goods by Shambhu to Narayan, as it is an outward movement of goods, and Shambhu did not file return for last 2 months. Clear, friends? And when I'm saying generation of e-waybill as recipient, I'm not talking about RCM, my dear friends. I'm talking about case where Nandi is generating e-waybill because Nandi is sending goods to Shambhu. In e-waybill, they always give the details of supplier and recipient. Nandi will show supplier is Nandi, receiver is Shambhu. Can Nandi do that? Answer is yes. That is what is the meaning. So facility of generation of e-waybill is blocked only for outward supplies and not for inward supply. In case where the registered person has not filed return for last 2 months. I hope you are clear, my dear friend. Yes? Good. Very interesting question. Question number 6, my dear friends. Wonderful. Very good. So can we proceed, guys? Excellent. Let's proceed, my dear friends. Come on. Next. Question number 7. Mr. Ayushman, very brilliant name, a registered person having intrastate aggregate turnover of 1.2 crores. Very good. In the preceding financial year, did not file 3B for the month of September by 10th November 21. Wow. In general, return should be filed by 20th of next month, but this gentleman did not do that. Amount of tax payable for the month of September 21 is 8 lakhs. All his supplies are intrastate supply. Is there any late fee payable for the same? If yes, how much is that? My dear friends, let me tell you very clearly one interesting concept. In general, late fee is 100 per day, subject to maximum of 5,000. This is given under CGST Act. But recently, one interesting amendment has done by notification number 19 by 2021, dated 1st June 2021, which is covered in the statutory update and also in the amendments video, where if aggregate turnover does not exceed 1.5 crores, then the maximum late fees is 1,000 plus 1,000. That means 1,000 under CGST Act, 1,000 under SGST Act. Next. Will your answer be different in A? If Ayushman has intrastate aggregate turnover of 5 crores in the preceding financial year, that means it is more than 1.5 crores, but does not exceed 5 crores. I repeat, my dear friends, if aggregate turnover is more than 1.5 crores, but less than or equal to 5 crores, my dear friends, the maximum late fees will be 2,500 plus 2,500. CGST and SGST. Next. Will your answer be different if total amount of tax payable in 3B for September is nil? If it is nil, my dear friends, the maximum late fees will be 250 plus 250. That means total is 500. It cannot be more than that. This point is very clearly clarified with the law, my dear friends. No doubt about it. An interesting concept on the provisions of late fees. High possibility that question can trigger in the exam. And this amendment has come from June 2021 returns. Very, very interesting amendment covered in the statutory updates and also in the amendments video. Please definitely take a note of this amendment. High possibility that question can come in the exam. Done. Next. Question number 8. Mr. X of Haryana intends to start business of supply of building materials. Very good. To various construction sites in Haryana. He has taken voluntary registration under GST in the month of April. Very nice. However, he has not commenced business till December due to lack of working capital. This is a problem. In general, my dear friends, there is an interesting concept given by section 29, power of the proper officer to suo motu to cancel the registration. In certain cases, like a registered person has contravened any provisions of the act, or he has not filed returns continuously for 6 months, or is under composition scheme, not furnished return for 3 consecutive periods. He has obtained registration by way of fraud, misrepresentation, or suppression of facts, or a voluntary registered person has not commenced business within 6 months. These are all the various cases where registration can be cancelled by the officer. No doubt about it. Clear, my dear friends? Everyone, see now. Proper officer suo motu cancel the registration. Of course, you are required to examine whether the action taken by PO is valid in law. Definitely valid, but just don't throw that word. Write the entire concept of section 29. Then only you'll get your full marks. Then it can be cancelled in case where registration is obtained by way of fraud, misrepresentation, or suppression of facts. Then, second possibility, he has violated any provisions of the act. Third, normal registered person did not file returns continuously for 6 months. Composition registered person did not file returns for continuous 3 quarters. Then last possibility, my dear friends, a person has taken voluntary registration but did not commence with the business within 6 months from the date of registration. Since that is violated, proper officer can cancel the registration. Next slide. Mr. X has applied for revocation. Very good. This revocation concept, my dear friends, is actually dealt by section 30, where it says in general we have to apply within 30 days. After 40 days from date of service of order of cancellation, department contends that application for revocation can only be made within 30 days. Actually, it is correct. But see now, however, X contends that period of submission of application may be extended on sufficient grounds being shown. You are required to comment upon validity of contention raised by department and also X. This is also an interesting amendment. In general, the time limit for application of revocation of registration is within 30 days from the date of service of cancellation order. However, my dear friends, in case of sufficient reasons recorded in writing, additional or joint commissioner can extend the said period of 30 days for a further period not exceeding 30 days. And it can further be extended by the commissioner for a further period not exceeding 30 days. And in this particular case, he applied within 40 days. So the contention raised by the X is definitely valid and contention raised by the department is not valid, provided reasons are recorded in writing and there is a sufficient cause. That is very, very important. Getting clarity, friends? That's all. Pretty simple and easy question on the concept of registration covered by amendments. Next. Question number 9. Geeta Services Limited, registered under GST, is engaged in providing various services to government. Wow, they're going to government, my dear friends. Company provides following information in respect of services provided during the month of April. Now, what is it they're asking? They're asking comment on the taxability or otherwise of the above transaction under GST law. Basically, they're asking whether it is exempt or taxable along with the legal provision, my dear friends. Wow, let's see that. First point, supply of manpower for cleanliness of roads not involving any supply of goods. Very good. This is exempt since it is a pure service to government. Pure services provided to government are exempt, my dear friends. No doubt about it. Next. Service provided by Fair Price Shop owned by Geeta Services Limited by way of sale of sugar under public distribution system against consideration in the form of commission. Friends, let me tell you, this point is specifically covered under exemption list, where they specified that service provided by Fair Price Shop to the government by way of sale of sugar under public distribution system against consideration in the form of commission is exempt. Generally, practically, we say ration shops, whatever it is definitely exempt. Third point, service of maintenance of street lights in a municipal area involving replacement of defunct lights. Lights are also changed and other spares along with maintenance. Generally, replacement of defunct lights and other spares constitute 35% of the value of service. This one will be taxable, my dear friends, because in case of composite supply of goods and services provided to the government, that is exempt only if value of the goods constitute not more than 25% of the value of the composite supply. But here in this case, it is constituting 35%. That is why it is taxable. Exemption is only when value of the goods does not constitute more than 25% of the value of composite supply. If not, it definitely becomes what, my dear friends? Taxable. So it should not constitute more than 25%. And if it is more than 25%, it becomes what, my dear friends? Taxable. Next, last point. Service of brochure distribution provided under a training program. Wow. In this, there is an interesting amendment, my dear friends, where they told service provided to government, under any training program for which 75% or more. Once upon a time, it was more than 75%. But they clarified that for which 75% or more of the total expenditure is borne by the government is exempt. Service provided to the government under any training program for which 75% or more of the total expenditure is borne by the government, that is exempt. Here, how much is borne by the government? 70% of expenditure is borne by the government. In this case, my dear friends, it becomes taxable. No doubt about it. That is simple reason because exemption is only when service is provided to the government under any training program for which 75% or more of the total expenditure is borne by the government. And in this case, only 70% is borne by the government. That's why it becomes taxable. No doubt about it. So I'm sure you would have realized by this time that RTP is a conglomeration of various interesting concepts and also amendments. Pretty simple and pretty comfortable, but at the same time, very scoring also. No doubt about it. Finally, last interesting question, my dear friends. Let's look at that also. Restrictions have been imposed on use of amount available in electronic credit ledger wide Rule 86B of CGST rules. Exactly, where they told you should pay at least 1% using cash ledger. This concept is given by Rule 86B. Are there any exceptions to Rule 86B? Brilliant question, my dear friends. In fact, my dear friends, there are some interesting exceptions given to Rule 86B, my dear friends. Rule 86B says entire amount you cannot pay using electronic credit ledger. At least 1% you have to pay using electronic cash ledger. And the exceptions are, first one, my dear friends, in case where there is a payment of income tax more than 1 lakh. Payment of income tax, what's that? More than 1 lakh in each of the last 2 financial years. When, my dear friends, in each of the last 2 financial years. That is very, very interesting. Clear, friends? Everybody, or the registered person, or any managing director, or proprietor of the registered person, or any of the 2 partners, or directors, or members of the managing committee, they should have paid tax more than 2 lakhs in each of the last 2 financial years. Then Rule 86B will not apply. Second possibility, we have claimed the refund of input tax credit more than 1 lakh. And when the refund can come in CFL level, it's more detailedly covered. But CA level, let me tell you, in case of zero-rated supplies like exports, supplies to SEZ, and one special concept called inverted duty structure, where the rate of tax on input is higher than rate of tax on output. In these cases, we'll claim refund of unutilized input tax credits. In that case, if the unutilized credit refund you have taken is more than 1 lakh, then also this 86B will not apply. And this should have been received. I repeat, what is the language, my dear friends? This should have been received in preceding financial year. This is one more exception. And finally, one last exception, my dear friends, where there is a payment of total output tax. Payment of what's a total output tax through cash ledger is greater than 1% of total liability. That means we paid more than 1% of the liability using electronic cash ledger, and this should have happened up to the said month in current financial year. So, for example, if you're in the month of October 22, so up to September 22 or up to October 22, we should have already paid at least 1% of the tax liability. We should have already paid at least 1% of the tax liability using electronic cash ledger. And let me tell you an interesting point, my dear friends. For this purpose, this point is very interesting and very powerful, my dear friends. That is, tax payable under RCM is not considered. Very logical, because if there is any tax which is payable under a reverse charge mechanism, that has to be paid using electronic cash ledger only. That is why they are clearly given that GST liability paid under RCM should not be taken into account while calculating total output liability paid using electronic cash ledger. Very, 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 very interesting exception, my dear friends. No doubt about it. Are we getting clarity, my dear friends? So there's an interesting question on Rule 86B, where there is a possibility that question may come in the exam. Clear, my dear friends? So these are the very, very, very interesting questions which are given by what, my dear friends? RTP May 2022. And of course, my dear friends, also you can keep in mind that this Rule 86B, I repeat, my dear friends, this Rule 86B will also not apply to government departments or local authority, government department or local authority or public sector undertaking. For these entities also, my dear friends, this concept of Rule 86B will not apply. Clear, friends? The whole idea of the government is very clear that they want to ensure that at least 1% will come using electronic cash ledger, and nobody is trying to misutilize the provisions of electronic credit ledger. That's the whole idea with which this concept has been introduced. So with this discussion, my dear friends, I'll complete the discussion on RTP May 2022, my dear friends. But that's not the end of the story, my dear friends. My humble suggestion is that not just this RTP, please go through the past exam papers, past 1-2 RTPs, watch out for the amendment videos, prepare really well. Because in exam, there cannot be any sort of confusion, any sort of relaxation what can happen. We have to go to the exam with that level of confidence that yes, any topic, any question can come, will definitely able to be answered. With that level of confidence, you have to approach the exam, my dear friends. And that's very, very important. Clear? So with this concluding remarks, my dear friends, I wish you all the very best and I wish you all success. Any doubts at any point of time, Shivateja is always there for your support. Do not hesitate. Feel free to comment. We'll answer your query. Or on Indigo Learn platform, we have got an option in the forums to comment or to raise any question. That also will be definitely more than happy to answer. I wish you all success, my dear friends. Do write really well and come out with flying colors. All the very best. Take care. Thank you very much. All the best.